before we get into this week's episode of CNT, I want to give a quick thank you to our sponsors. The Everett Aquasauce have been sponsoring me for all of 2020, and I just want to thank them for that. They have been with me through the thick and the thin, and they have been very kind to me. They are the single A affiliation of the Seattle Mariners and are doing a lot to help the community. And I highly recommend supporting them and giving them a follow on Instagram at Everett Aquasauce. Also, check them out at Funko Field. Maybe go to a game or two. Hi, I'm your host, Tristan Yelmark, and this is the CNT Podcast. This week is the second part of a three-part series where I will be predicting the MLB standings with a guest. This week's guest is Dylan Zuber, who has been a Minnesota sports fan all his life and has played baseball and football throughout it.
It's an honor to be here. I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on. Now, this week, of course, the predictions are assuming that everyone plays and that there are no injuries. Now, this week is NL East and AL East, so let's hop right into it. My NL East fifth seed is the Miami Marlins. They have a few decent players that will get them a few wins, but overall will be very bad. I have them at 17-43. They're going to really struggle this year and be really bad, in my opinion.
I do have the Marlins at 5. I have them 13-47. I think their pitching is going to be decent this year. But when you don't sign anyone really big in free agency besides Jonathan VR and you don't have that star power like they used to have, I just don't think this team is going to be able to compete. They might win against a couple games against the Phillies and the Mets, but I don't really see them going far, more than 15 wins this season.
That's fair. They're not really very good. My fourth seed is the Philadelphia Phillies. I have them at 30-30. I feel like they have a good team, but they really lack that competitive drive, and they're really just going to struggle this year with the shortened season without that, and it's really going to hurt them and really overall make them a 500 team at best.
I say the ceiling for that team is also 500, but I think they're going to go either 25-35 or 20-40. Like you said, they don't have the competitive drive they used to have. Bryce Harper is now all about himself ever since changing. When he was in Washington, he was all about the team. He had all these weapons around him. That's what made them one of the best teams in baseball. And now he comes to the Phillies, low market team, big market guy. He fits really well in the big market city, not fit well in Philadelphia. I think this team goes somewhere in the ballpark of 25 and 20 wins, and does not compete even close to the NL East.
Yeah, that's fair. They really are just in a weird situation. My third team is the reigning champs in the Washington Nationals. I have them at 33-27. They have a decent team, but the loss of Rendon's really going to hurt them. And I feel like Strasburg's really going to struggle this year. And overall, they won't be very good, so I have them at 33-27. They're just going to have a down year after winning the World Series.
I think that the Nationals would, if they were in another division, they would be very, very good. They would probably make the postseason, not the World Series. But since the NL and the AL East have to play each other, they're going to be overpowered by these big names like the Braves, the Mets, the Yankees, the Blue Jays, the Rays. So I think this team goes somewhere in the ballpark of 30-35 wins and takes the 3 spot in the NL East. They have all the weapons besides the loss of Rendon, but they still have Trey Turner, Victor Robles, and Juan Soto along with Scherzer and Strasburg, who are going to have unbelievable years where their fielding is not going to come up clutch in big time moments.
Yeah. So my second seed, which also will make the wild card number 2 spot, is the New York Mets at 35-25. I feel like this is their year. They've been my dark horse for a long time now, and it's really just their time to shine. It's their year to prove themselves. I just feel like a lot of players are just going to take the next step. Pete Alonso is going to really solidify himself as one of the powerhouses of the league, and I just feel like it's their time to shine, and I see them making the wild card number 2 spot, and I do see them winning that wild card game as well.
I too have them at second in the division. I have them wild card 2 losing to the Reds, but I think think that the Mets have all the weapons in the world. They probably would need better pitching. They have all the, I think they have all the offensive weapons you need. They have a great catcher, great first baseman, everything. But
Yeah.
I think people are gonna figure out how to pitch around Pete Alonso since what they did. I believe Aaron Judge after the year he had like 50-something home runs. He had more of a down year because people started pitching around him. I think that's exactly what's gonna happen to Pete Alonso. He's gonna let the fame get to his head, and the 60 games is not going to be enough for him to start to heat up. If you saw last year, he started heating up around like the 65, 70 game mark.
That's fair to think, and it's fair. Definitely, that is a very real possibility of happening. My number one seed is the Atlanta Braves, one of my favorite teams to watch. Probably, if the Cubs and Mariners didn't exist, they'd probably be my favorite team. I love a lot of their players like Freddie Freeman and Ronald Acuna, Dansby Swanson, who I think are all going to play insane if they all play. I have them at 40 and 20 in first place. I think they're a great team, and this is their year to prove themselves. And I feel like they're going to have a great year and really push far into the playoffs.
I also had the Braves number one. I have them at 40 and 20. They are the 2 seed in the NL behind the Dodgers in all of the playoffs. And I think this team has all the weapons in the world. Dansby Swanson is due for a breakout year. He hasn't lived up to his expectations like he was at Vanderbilt. Ozzie Albies, Acuna, Freddie Freeman, um, Jonathan Camargo, or whatever his name is.
Mm-hmm.
They have all the weapons in the world. Pitching definitely needs to get better. The starting rotation. But I feel like Touki Toussaint, if he can recover from COVID, and Mike Soroka can really carry that Braves team along with Will Smith and the bullpen to maybe a World Series contending, at least NLCS, maybe World Series team.
Maybe. For sure it could happen. Now let's move on to the AL East. My number 5 seed is the Baltimore Orioles, and I feel like they'll be 15 and 45. All of their really good players are really in the minor leagues. They're really going to struggle. They don't have very many great players. I feel like Trey Mancini is going to have a good year, and if they didn't have Trey Mancini, I would have them at like 5 wins, but I feel like Trey Mancini is going to take over a few games and get them to 15 wins.
I have the Orioles winning 13 games, going 13 and 47, and like you said, to the Trey Mancini, they're going to be better than what people think. He has the ability to carry that team to like 2 or 3 wins, but I do believe that this team has a very bright future. Once Chance Sisco comes up, he should be a very, very good ball player for that organization. Not only because it's one of the worst organizations in baseball, one of the worst teams, but he's also one of the more bright futures in the MLB. I said team 13 wins and dead last in the AL East.
I agree. They're not going to be very great. They're really going to struggle. My 4th seed is a very unpopular opinion. I think the Rays at 23 and 37. I just feel like their team won't be as consistent. And I just feel like a lot of players are going to have a down year on that team, and they're really going to struggle. And I have them at 23 and 37.
I totally disagree with that. I think that is the biggest hot take of all time. I have the Red Sox, Blue Jays split third, fourth. It literally could go either way. Both teams 30 and 30 could be either way. I think the Blue Jays will, though, pull off as the 4th seed since they don't have that one solidified hitter. Yes, they have Bo Bichette, Kevin Biggio, Vlad Jr. But like as of right now, they don't have that one guy who can go in there, throw strikes, get outs. They don't have that one hitter who can go in there and change the game. But I do believe that Vlad Guerrero or Bo Bichette both could be that guy. But if they played a full 162 games, this is a team that would make the playoffs in a lot of divisions. But because the AL East is so top heavy, that I think they're going to pull off either 4th or 3rd. And whoever's 4th, if the Blue Jays are 4th, the Red Sox are going to be 3rd. If the Red Sox are 4th, the Blue Jays are going to be 3rd.
So you pretty much gave your predictions for 3rd and 4th. So I'll give my 3rd and then I'll give my 2nd right away. my thought, I have the Blue Jays at 25 and 35. I agree they don't have that one guy, but I feel like towards the end of the season, Vlad Guerrero is going to become that guy and turn into that guy and really become that all-star player that he will be. Plus, I feel like Bo Bichette's going to have an amazing season this year. And so that's how I have them at 25 and 35 as third seed. Then my second seed, I have the Red Sox at 30 and 30. They lost their best player, and I just feel like that's a 500 team. It's a good team, but I just feel like they're going to really miss Mookie Betts this year, and I have them at going 30 and 30.
I have a dark horse at second. I have the Yankees at second. I know it's curveball, but it could go either way. I think the Yankees are going to go second because with the 60 games, you never know who could heat up like that, or who could heat up very fast, who does not play very well in the first. It's all in the first like 10 or so games. It's all about the first games is going to set the tone for who's top tier playoff ready and who is not going to be good this year due to the lack of games. I think the Yankees are the wild card team, but I don't think that they're going to be the division winners because the schedule is very hard. They have to play the Braves, I believe. They have one series with the Braves, but it's very hard to play the AL East and the NL East in the same year, 60 games.
I agree. So, for my first seed, I had the Yankees at 45 and 15. There's not much to say. They're a stat team. They're going to be great. I feel like they're going to be dominating the AL East for years to come. Not really much to say about the Yankees being number one in my eyes.
I have what's it called? I have the Rays at number one. I don't know how you put them at four, but I believe it's one, and I believe this because they have all the talent in the world. Blake Snell's gonna have a great year. Tyler Glasnow, Willie Adames, Austin Meadows, a bunch of prospects playing baseball, and they showed a very, very, very bright future. At the end of last season, they started heating up, which I think will carry on to this season and lead them to a 45 and 15, maybe a 47 and 13 record, and win the division, go to the ALCS, and lose to a team they should not lose to in 6 games.
I definitely can see the Rays being the one seed. I just feel like a lot of their players will struggle, and that's why I have them at 4. And so, yeah, that's the reason why I have them at 4. So, like, again, huge thanks to Dylan Zeba for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate taking your time out of your day.
For sure. So, make sure to be on the lookout for next week's episode, episode 3 in the finale, where I will be going over the AL and NL Central, and we'll be doing the awards. So, make sure to be on the lookout for that. And then once you watch that, be ready for MLB Baseball to come back a few days after that finale airs. So, thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.